Good morning, this is World Cup Daily from Stoppage Time News. Everything you missed overnight in one sitting. Coming up, the last 16 bites hard, Morocco knock out the co-host Canada to reach the quarter-finals, and France grind past a snarling Paraguay to join them. Off the pitch, Everton go big for a Chelsea winger. And later, the one you have all been waiting for, England and Mexico, tonight at the Azteca. It's Sunday the 5th of July. Let's get into it. Arthur here, and the knockout rounds are down to the last 16-2 ties settled overnight, both booking quarter-final places. Start in Philadelphia, where France beat Paraguay 1-0, but they had to work for it. On a broiling Independence Day, the champagne football stayed on ice. This was a scrap. Paraguay came for a fight, frustrated the favourites, and the tie turned ill-tempered, until Kylian Mbappe settled it from the penalty spot in the 70th minute, his 7th goal of the tournament. France are through, and a quarter-final with Morocco now awaits. Which brings us to Houston, and the biggest result of the night. Morocco knocked out the co-hosts Canada, winning 3-0 to reach the last 8. Azzedine Ounahi was the star, scoring twice before Soufiane Rahimi added a third. For Canada, it is the end of the road, the first of the 3 host nations to go out, and it came without their talisman Alphonso Davies. For Morocco, it extends a remarkable unbeaten run and sets up that mouth-watering clash with France. Canada's Jesse Marsch was defiant afterwards, insisting his side were the better team and controlled the game, a hard claim to square with a 3-0 scoreline, but a measure of his pride. 2 down, and the last 8 is taking shape. Now the story of the day, and it is written in red and green. 4 years ago, Morocco's run to the semi-finals in Qatar was called a fairy tale. This morning, nobody is using that word anymore. Their 3-0 dismantling of Canada was the performance of a side that has quietly become one of the tournament's genuine contenders, unbeaten now in 34 matches. The BBC put it plainly, this is no longer a story of plucky underdogs, but of a team that expects to win. And they're doing it with a blend of old and new, the experience that carried them so far in Qatar, and a fresh jewel in 18-year-old midfielder Ayoub Bouadi, already being courted by some of Europe's biggest clubs. Now comes the real test. Standing between Morocco and a return to the semi-finals are France the favourites, and the one team you would not choose to face in the last 8. It is the pick of the quarter-finals, and it is on. Kate, what's moving on the wire?
Thanks, Arthur, and the usual reminder before we dive in, phone Kenny Kane. These are reports and gossip, not done deals. We start on Merseyside, where the BBC and the Standard report that Everton have agreed a deal worth up to £24 million, add-ons included, for the Chelsea winger Tyreek George. It is said to be subject to personal terms and a medical, so not over the line just yet, but the framework, we're told, is in place. There is business in Turkey, too. Multiple outlets report that Fenerbahce have wrapped up a deal for the Manchester City and Netherlands defender Nathan Ake, a move that could be worth up to £8.5 million. At Arsenal, the transfer columns claim Mikel Arteta is making room. Reports say the Gunners have agreed to sell Leandro Trossard, a deal valued at around £17 million and described as a ruthless call from the manager. And a few more doing the rounds in Sunday's papers. Manchester United's Kobbie Mainoo is said to be on Real Madrid's radar. Bournemouth's Alex Scott is reportedly wanted by a clutch of Premier League clubs, and Newcastle, we're told, consider Bruno Guimaraes simply priceless. As ever, nothing is signed until it is signed. Quick hits before we go. First, an ugly note from the buildup in France. The French Federation President Philippe Diallo has condemned in the strongest terms remarks by the former Paraguay goalkeeper José Luis Chilavert, who called the French squad a squad from Africa. Diallo labeled the comments racist and said Chilavert had fallen into disgrace. Elsewhere, Egypt's coach Hassam Hassan says he has drawn a line under a physical confrontation with a police officer at the team's hotel in Dallas, telling reporters he accepts an apology and considers the matter resolved. Next were margins. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has signed a new 1-year contract at Celtic, extending the England-capped midfielder's stay in Glasgow. There is a pointed one for the organizers too. The BBC and the Independent report that the sheer confusion over the kickoff time for Mexico versus England laid bare a lack of leadership from FIFA. 5 hours of chaos, they called it. And in Seattle, Belgium are bracing for a hostile welcome, the Red Devils vowing to stand firm against a raucous pro-American crowd when they meet the United States. Back to you, Arthur.
So, what to watch? The main event is finally here. England against Mexico. Tonight, in the last 16, a place in the quarterfinals on the line at a heaving Azteca at altitude and a 1-end kickoff back home. Thomas Tuchel says his players are here to write their own chapters, though he admits adapting to the thin air has been almost impossible. There is a late fitness cloud too. Reece James is a doubt, but Jarell Quansah is fit again. Elsewhere, in the last 16, the United States meet Belgium in Seattle, and Brazil face a Norway side chasing history. The bracket is nearly set, and the heavyweights are circling. That's your morning briefing. We're back with shorts through the day and right here tomorrow. Stoppage Time news before the final whistle.